Infowar.com.
Hello, family and friends. How are you today? Welcome to PF Global Classroom. I do this every Thursday, and I'm super excited to be live with you again today. We've always done Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Today, we have added Instagram, right? And so I'm super excited. We're making progress. So, thank you very much for joining, wherever you're joining from. My family on Instagram. I can see you guys, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're joining from. Let us know where you are joining today's show from. Let us know whether you're in America or you are in the UK or parts of Europe or you are in Africa. Kindly let us know. We do not take it for granted that you are able to make it to this show every Thursday evening. We do this every Thursday evening, 4 p.m. Central Time. And this is Praise for We're broadcasting live from Harvard in Texas. Well, last week, we began to look at how to win with people. How to win with people. Okay, I can see some of my US family. How are you? They're on Instagram. How to win with people that many people do not know how to win. Every time I do an audit of people's goals for the year, by the way, if you have not yet signed up for my class, my goal scoring class, the one in America starts on the 26th to 29th of December, sorry. You want to join that class unfailingly, but I have a free webinar on Sunday night, right? Sunday night in Nigeria. That's about 7 p.m. there about Nigerian time. You want to join that as well, right? But the main class holds December 26th to 29th, 7 p.m. CST, and then the one for Africa is January 2nd and 3rd. Well, we started looking at how to win with people consistently everywhere you go last week. Now, why did I decide to do this? Because a lot of us have great ideas, brilliant ideas. We have passion, we have things, solutions. But where we fall short is when it comes to network. When I do auditing for people every year, why they do not meet their goals consistently, what we find is that they are very, very lean when it comes to networking. And they are always very lean and lose out because consistently they are always trying to live in a seven-dimensional world from the prison of a two-dimension. What does that simply mean? If you are listening to me and the only model you know is right and wrong, you are very correct. It's just that you're going to be limited because life is beyond right and wrong. As a matter of fact, if you don't even understand the concept called peace and progress, which is slightly above right and wrong, you will consistently live in an utopian world of your own where you think that life is always right and wrong and you forget about the shades and you will be a good person, right? The only thing is that you will not make as much progress as you should have made. Okay, so you realize that last week we started looking at the four cardinal principles that it takes to win with people. And we look at the law of acceptance last week. If you missed that, you can go on YouTube and just listen to that because it will help you. That if you don't know how to accept people, you will shut doors that God has sent to answer your prayers simply because it did not come in the format you expect it to be. That when we do not understand that the most flexible man controls the entire system, we will judge people unfairly because we do not know where they're coming from and we do not understand their worldview. And by that, we will make enemies, build bridges, build dungeons instead of creating bridges and learning how to win with people. So today, I go to the second rule, which is the rule of respect. Now, it's not enough for you to learn to accept people, you must learn how to respect them. What is your default relationship when you see people who do not believe what you believe or who do not look like you? For example, if you're a Christian and you see a Muslim, how do you feel about them? If you see a sheikh dressed in his regalia, what comes to your mind? Right? If you meet a Shinto, if you meet a traditionalist, if you meet a herbalist or the people you call idol worshiper, people who don't worship what you worship. What is your code of engagement with them? When you meet the people you call commercial sex workers, what is your default response? How do you look at them? When you meet the people who wear white garments, who go to Sele or CNS church, if you are in Nigeria, and you see them, do their thing, how do they come across to you? When you see people who have masks on, or when you even see the LGBT who do not live like you, how do you take them? How do you see them? What is your perception about them? Now, I know that already many of you, as I mentioned these different groups, it elicits certain feelings about you. That consistently we make enemies in the areas where we are not similar, when actually we need to learn to enjoy the beauty of humanity. I do not have to subscribe to your ways, but what I hold you as a human being is the power of respect. Because a wise man once said that whatever you respect, you attract, and what you don't respect, move far away from you. That was Dr. Mike Murdoch. That many people want to be wealthy, but when they see a wealthy man, they scorn them. That every time you see someone who you do nothing deserve the life of affluence that they're living, instead of you respecting them or seeking to know what they know or how they got to where they get to, if your default response is to say, oh, he's a thief, he stole, blah, 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 that level of success will move away from you. As a matter of fact, it's now been scientifically proven that if you want to get something into your life, if you show respect to those people who manifest those things and you go after them to master what they know, you are likely going to attract the same into your life. That's why I always say to people that whenever God wants to do something for you, thank you very much, Olabi, for buying a badge. Whenever God wants to do something for you, right, it makes it happen for someone around you who does not look like they deserve it, to test your response. If your response is to look at them and you're filled with envy and you look at them and you think they don't deserve it, why should they be there? You move with them that level of miracle away from you. But if your default response is gratitude, you are genuinely happy for them, then you are next in line for your miracle, because gratitude is the highest form of vibration, and you can vibrate anything into your life if you master the power of gratitude. Now, the first question I'm going to ask you today is that, do you have respect for people, or you are a respecter of persons? Do you have respect for people, or you are a respecter of persons? See, I have carefully noticed that many people don't know the difference between respect for others and being respecters of men, right? The difference is that while having respect for others means that you will accord everyone that comes your way the best and the highest form of treatment, irrespective of who they are. The latter means that you accord honor to those who are above you and you feel can offer you something. Haven't you seen people, say about a leader, they hate the leader, they talk down on the leader, but the leader shows up and they begin to hail him? It's the best thing to have happened to us. Why? They are respecters of men. They know that the leader has something they need, so they show respect. That's not respect. Respect means that you accord every human being you meet, regardless of who they are, the highest form of dignity. And that's why, if you understand the Bible a little bit, Jesus was saying that when I come back, I'll come in the mode of someone who is hungry. He says, I was hungry, you did not give me food. I was in prison, maybe a criminal, you did not check on me. I was homeless, you did not take me in. I was in pain, you did not take care of me. And people ask him, when did we see you do any of these things? He says, as long as you have done it for my people, you have done it for me. What it means is that your greatest chance of not missing him is your capacity to learn to respect everyone you meet. How do you treat your house help? How do you treat the people who are vulnerable? How do you treat the people who don't have the kind of money you have? Right? Many of us, when we see the people who are ahead of us, what we want to do is say is to be sold. Meanwhile, what the Bible actually says is that he that lends to them, he that gives to the poor, lends to the Lord. So you want to ask yourself, do you truly have respect for you are a respecter of persons? Now, that's why you see that A man treats his female boss with dignity, yet he treats his wife anyhow. He treats his religious leader with honor, but disrespect his or her spouse, and both of them, they treat their kids anyhow. You see the president, you treat him with dignity, but you look at your driver's children and you treat them anyhow. Those are shades of being respected as a person, and that you lack respect. Because if you have respect, you will accord people the highest form of dignity, and you stand the chance of winning with people if you master this code of respect. Now, what is respect? Respect means you recognize the humanity of your contact. That while you may differ in religion, you may differ in race, you may differ in your worldview. One thing that is consistent is that you are likely going to meet someone who is a human being, man made in God's image. So respect means you recognize the humanity in your contact, regardless of their difference, regardless of their sexuality, regardless of their beliefs and their creed. Number two, respect means you recognize there is something in everyone that is good and can come good for you at critical moment. That every human being you see, I mean, if you mention Osama bin Laden right now, I'm sure you will be filled with a lot of terror and fear and trauma, because everything they've reported about that man is about him being a terrorist. But if you meet Osama bin Laden's wife, if you meet his children, and you mention his name, it will elicit a different feel. They will think fatherhood. Every human being has got good and bad inside of them. The people you call good are the people who've been able to regulate their bad, and they've been able to suppress it, while the people you call bad are the people who have been able to suppress their good, and their bad consistently gets elevated. Respect means you see yourself in others, and you recognize what you do against them is against yourself. There's a concept called Ubuntu from Africa. It's a concept that says, I am because you are. There is no me without you. Whatever I do against you, I do against myself. No man is man except through others. Right. That's what respect means. That there is nothing different about you and I. We have the same level of eyes to eyes. We have one nose, we have one mouth, we have two hands. Some people don't even have, right? So if you look at the next person, they look more like you, despite your ideological differences or your religious beliefs or your sexuality differences and things like that. Respect means you have the intelligence to appreciate people's journey and to understand that they're doing the best they can with what they know. That's why I always say to people that people don't hurt me, people are only revealed. And that revelation shows where they are per time. Because if you had met me 20 years ago, maybe you wouldn't want anything to have to do with me, right? That we are all work in progress, and you have no right to judge a house that is under construction. The moment the house is done and every fitting has been placed in there, then you can go ahead to judge the house. Now, when we respect others, we are able to attract them, which is a major factor in our ability to influence them. You try it from tomorrow. Everyone you see, accord them the same level of dignity, the highest form of honor that you can ever give the most important person in your life. Do that, you'd realize that you will win consistently with people. As a matter of fact, some people are at the verge of dirt. The respect you show to them is what gives them a fighting chance to survive and to live. The question today is, how do you see your spouse? How do you see your children? How do you see the vulnerable in the society? How do you see the poor and the weak? How do you see those that have hurt you in times past? You see, our perception is what determines our reception and our handling. How we perceive people is going to affect how we receive them. And how we receive them is going to affect how we handle them. So, which means perception is very, very key. Now, I'm going to share with you about 6 tips or 5 tips that can help you win with people using the principle of respect. And next week, I'll come and share the third principle, which is understanding, and the last one, which is love. I'll share the upper week post Christmas. Right. Now, so number one, if you're ready, tell me yes, you're ready. Number one, make respect for others your default relationship code. You need to learn to create what we call a perceptual code that speaks to their dignity. For example, I once belonged to a group. I once belonged to a group of people, and in that group, we call everyone my leader. That's what we call everyone in that group. What this simply means is whenever we see you, We say, oh, how are you, my leader? We call everyone my leader. Now, what it means is it helps us accord everyone every form of dignity, regardless of who they are. And it's a Jewish concept. That's why you see that the Jews, the Japanese, they are very respectful. Why? Because your boss at work might be your subordinate in the military. Israel is a nation of everyone is military ready, kind of. So if you don't are not nice to your subordinate at work, the same subordinate may be a general in the army. When you go serve in the army, they can put you where you get killed easily. So if life is like that, you realize that many of us will treat people better. So the question is, what is the perceptual code through which you interact with people? So if you say every human being you meet is dash, what is that dash? So for example, if you say every human being you meet is going to be my leader, or every human being you meet is going to be your excellency. Now, in my office, we say, I honor you. Once we say we honor you, we can't withdraw the honor and now begin to dishonor you. Now, it might be what you want to adopt that will help you win with people. Now, the downside to it is that people would think that you don't criticize people, you don't judge people. It's not in your place to judge anybody, right? Because you have your own thing that you're dealing with anyways. So don't fall for the people who want you to be part of judgment over people. Who are you to preside over people's case, right? And that's not to say that you condone indiscipline or irresponsibility. However, you want to stand between the living and the dead to be the one that minister healing to the hurting, and you are the one that is able to help the perpetrator themselves. So you want to ask yourself, what will be your perceptual code of engagement for every human being you meet? You cannot relate with people based on religion. Say every Muslim is this, every Christian is that, every Jew is this, every this is this. No, pick one. To say regardless of, without their religion or anything, how would you want to see them, right? So if you see them as a leader, if you see them as royalty, it affects how you receive them regardless of how they're dressed. And there's a fighting chance that you may likely entertain angels and treat them right because your default mode is to respect everything that comes into your space. Number two, respect people's beliefs, even when it contradicts yours, and never seek to pull down their conviction. We are all doing the best they can with what we know. If you were born in Japan, what religion would you have practiced? What would you have believed? If you were born in China, who would you have been? If I was born as the first son of the king of Saudi Arabia, King Fahd or something, who would I be? I would have been a Muslim defending the faith of Islam, right? The Almighty God who ensured that some were born into Muslim homes, some were born in Shinto, some were born into an atheistic society. Do you think is not intelligent enough to know what he has done for humanity? Why do we always think that people don't follow our way, something is wrong with them, they are going to some certain hellfire? Why do we judge when we didn't even, we found ourselves in the religion that we found ourselves, and we were born into some of this religion, right? I do not think humanity needs to do that and that's why you realize that God did not put any innovation in any one religion. He put it in everyone to show that until we learn to relate together, we will not enjoy the beauty of humanity. Right? And so if you don't show respect to the Muslim who has a cure for cancer, you may die of cancer. Or if that one does not show respect for the Christian who have a cure to HIV/AIDS, you may die of HIV/AIDS. That we would always need ourselves. And how you even know that is that when you throw a bomb at a crowd, the bomb does not differentiate who is a Muslim, who is a Christian, right? The bomb kills everyone regardless, right? So you need to respect people's beliefs, right? You don't know where they're coming from. If you have been through what they've been through, grown or grew under the circumstances that produced them, most likely you'll be thinking like them. Number three, be humble enough to learn through their lens to better understand their map of the world and the filters through which they process reality. There's a way we all process reality. A man who has grown up in the village, never seen a skyscraper before, cannot process anything at the skyscraping level. He cannot. It's not that he's wicked. If you bring a man who is used to pit latrine and you bring him to the city to come and use WC, water closet, what will happen almost immediately is that he's going to stand on it, not because he's wicked, but the instruction in his mind tells him that every time you want to use the restroom, you needed to stand on something, right? So people are not wicked. People are only responding to the conditioning they've been subjected to. So be humble, because when you are always willing to learn, your default is, what can I learn from this person? Now, I'll teach more on that next week. If that is your default, it changes the dynamics all together. You are able to understand why they act the way they do. Number four, recognize that everything people do in life is either to avoid pain or to gain pleasure. So never respond to disrespect with disdain, right? I walked into a meeting one day and some guy walked into the meeting and he gave a racial slur. I knew it because I was black. I was the only black in the room. And it just called me a derogatory, whatever, but I was not offended. I just raised my hand and I introduced myself and I looked at the entire hall and I said, well, I'm a descendant of the ancestry of the generation that built the first smart city in the world. It's in the Guinness Book of Record. You can go check it. Everything they built in my city, where I came from, Benin City, was so good that people came and chatted away and they put it in different museums around the globe and they made a lot of money from it, right? And by the time I was done, everyone started clapping because the guy actually felt like a fool, right? You see, you cannot fight over what people call you because many people don't like themselves. And the only way they project that on you is to try to talk you down. If you respond to them, then they would have reduced you to their level. Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. I'm not going to reduce my excellence to meet your mediocrity because you've chosen to remain at the level of mediocrity. Now, so you need to recognize that there are pains, people have pains in their life. And if all they have is pain, they can only transmit pain into your world. But you cannot transmit pain back to them, because you have a higher law within you, which is the law of love. And that takes me to number 5. Recognize that people will do everything to be with someone that gives them a feeling of respect, and it's a vital key to retain people in your life. If you want to attract your spouse, respect them. You want to attract your children, respect them. You want to attract your staff, respect them. You want to attract your bosses, respect them, right? You want to attract everyone, right? You learn to respect them, because if you accord them the respect, you speak to them with courtesy, you speak to them with honor, you speak to the greatness in them, they always want to be with you. And when they're alone and they're looking for who to be with, everyone wants to come in your direction. Always remember, the respect is the garden that the most difficult person will visit to relax, and the most refreshing spring the most ardent person will love to drink from and become that garden in spring. No matter how ardent the person you're dealing with is, no matter how difficult they are, if you show enough respect and you find the respect edge, they will come and lie down in your green pastures. So go ahead. It's tough out there for many people, and there's the tendency to want to put people down because many of us are stressed. But enjoy the beauty of humanity. Don't get into conversations of you are Muslim, you are Christian, you are going to hellfire. No. Don't get in conversation of you are straight, you are gay. No. Enjoy the beauty of humanity. We have a lot to gain from each other than what separates us. We don't always have to agree and accept with other people's way, but can we respect them? Can we find fine? Can we seek to learn something new about them? I hope this has been helpful today. I'll come back same time next week and I'll be dealing with I'll be dealing with the third principle, which is the principle of understanding, and that is standing on the very interesting concept. You do not want to miss it for anything. Thank you very much. By the way, you want to join my goal scoring session if you're in North America or you're in Europe, or you can stay awake at maybe 1 p.m. or 2 a.m. Nigerian time. It starts from the 26th to the 29th of December. I am going to be sharing the template of the goal scoring that has helped many of my mentees and clients, exceed their projection for the new year within the first 6 months of the year. I mean, I used to be like that. I would write my goals, I would pray about it, and it wouldn't come to pass. And I would go year in, year out until one day I was going to pray about it, and I felt a voice say to me, "What are you trying to do? Why don't you go and find out what works?" By the time I went to find out what works, I discovered that many of the things that work for people are not being taught in mainstream classes of goal setting. And that was when I started teaching goal scoring. It changed a lot of people. You're going to be seeing some of them. So if you go to praise4wordtech.com/goal scoring, you can sign up for that class. That's a PRAISE forward FOWOWE, then D behind it. Then tech is TECH.com/goal scoring. You can go and sign up. But on Saturday, I am going to be doing a free webinar. I think that class is almost packed already. But go sign up for this one, and I'll see you in class. And I'll show you how to create a 10-year plan and how you make next year the first of the 10 years. Thank you very much for joining me. I honor you and I celebrate all of you who have made it a point of duty to join me today. I can celebrate. I mean, I see Yanasim from New Zealand. I can see Yinka Oguntoyibo. Jennifer, I can see you. Genevieve, I can see you. Jokotade, Temi Ajibewa, Rod Lady, Smiley, all of you, I really, really celebrate you. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Next week, Thursday, will be another time, and that will be very close to Christmas. We will get on the third principle. You can always win with people. And trust me, one of the core reasons why a lot of you don't score your goal is the quality of your network. You have done emotional hiring. We're going to shift that base of power. If your default is to respect, to accept, to understand, and to love people, you will win consistently. People will recommend you for jobs that you didn't even bid for. Why? Because just have an infectious personality that everyone wants to come around you. Thank you very much for joining us. And